Okay, hello. I have some friends. No, some friends with me. Very curious. These guys. So I'm here to talk about garlic. I hope that no one feels intimidated about the whole notion of getting started with garlic, because when it comes to garlic, you get started every year. So it's not as if you just get this magical garlic patch and it's just magical every single year. It's not how it works. You have to harvest and replant it every year. So don't ever be intimidated by growing garlic. It's fairly straightforward. So I'm in Ontario, which means the way that I grow garlic may be different from where you are. So for us, this is the time to plant is in mid-September. So this is 2023, September 2023, and it's unseasonably hot. And I'm in less of a rush to plant now because of how warm it is. But I'm going to get started. So as you can see, there's kind of some different sizes. So some of them are really small. What I tried last year was, everybody who plants garlic talks about, oh, Halloween garlic, Halloween, you have to do it at Halloween. So I tried that, and then this is how all of those turned out. So for me, not successful. I wouldn't do that again. These are my mid-September garlics. They look great. So what you have to keep in mind when you're growing garlic and knowing how much to grow is how much do you use in a week, and then multiply that and how many plants you're going to need. So for us, we use at least 2 of these a week. So that means that I need minimum 100 plants just to get me through the year. This is what I'm dealing with. Look at this. Hello. Run! So knowing that I need at least 108 of these bulbs of garlic means I need to plant more than that, because you have to think that next year what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to use this to plant your crop for the following year. So you kind of need to have, I call them like sacrificial garlics. And so that means, okay, if I know that the year after I'm going to need another 104 bulbs, that means I need to use 104 cloves. Pegs. There's a lot of debate about what you call them. This is a bulb of garlic. For my purposes, it's a bulb of garlic. And then one of these is a peg of garlic. So you need one peg to grow this whole thing, which is pretty amazing, right? So you have to keep that in mind when you're doing your calculation about how much garlic you need. Maybe you just want to do 5 bulbs of garlic. That's totally fine. You just need 5 pegs. For us, because we attempt to homestead and each year elevate our level of homesteading, these are the calculations that we do, and we have to do them in September so that we know we're ready for next year. You usually can start to harvest by beginning of summer the following year, which is pretty neat. It's pretty nice too to see the garlic scapes pop up in the springtime, because they're usually one of the first things that you see in the garden, which is exciting. So that's how you get started. You can, if you don't have your own crop of garlic to use, just go to the farm store or a garden center, and you just get a bag like this of the garlic that you think looks good. So I bought some extra because we're not going to have enough sacrificial garlic this year. So hopefully next year we'll end up with enough sacrificial garlic so that we don't have to buy from the store. But the garlic that we chose to supplement our supply is this type, and it's purple Russian garlic. It's really big, which is what we need. Some people prefer the smaller ones, like this size, but for us, that's literally like one meal of cooking. So we need the bigger ones. We would go through a lot of pegs if we if we only planted the small ones. So what you're going to do is you have your clove, your bulb, and you're just going to break a piece off, look like this. And you're going to plant this in the ground. You're going to plant this facing down. This is where the roots will come out. And then this is where the green sprout will come out the top. So even if you are, let's say, like you just have like a small raised garden bed, you can still grow garlic. Do not feel discouraged. You can. It doesn't take a lot of space. You can plant like even like 3 inches, like 3-4 inches apart, and you're good. So you don't have to be super strict. You don't need a ton of space. If you just want to try this out, you like literally, if you wanted to, go to the grocery store, buy garlic, put it in the ground now. That's literally all that you need to do to get started. Last year we planted the garlic, of course, in the fall of the year before. So we put ground cloth down on our garden. You can see back here, but because the garlic was already in, we couldn't put the ground cloth over where the garlic was planted. So this year what we're doing is we have ground cloth down already, and we're going to cut holes. We're going to cut like strips in the ground cloth and then plant the garlic in there. It eliminates the weeds and then also increases how much you get to harvest. With our garden this year, with all of the ground cloth, our plants just were so happy and they just did so well. We want to be sure we do that for the garlic as well. It's also less maintenance too. When you are homesteading and you work full time, you don't have a lot of time to spend weeding the garden. So this is our, each year we try and elevate how we do things and make things better and easier and more efficient. And that's what we're doing. So I will take you through how to plant. And this is Davy and Ginger Ale. Hi! So this is the area where we'll plant our garlic. As you can see, there is ground cloth. You can sort of see it. It's covered right now in sunflower seeds because look at all these beautiful sunflower volunteers we had this year. And look at these roots. Look at this. I should call it a trunk. I'm going to have to chop these down. So this area, not this year, but the year before, was sunflower circle. And then this year we grew watermelons and cantaloupes in this area, but we had the ground cloth down. So the great thing with sunflowers is that you plant them somewhere, let them grow, and they work through the ground. So they kind of like, not necessarily like a rototiller, but it works the soil really well. And it makes the soil a lot easier to grow other things in, like especially garlic, because it's a bulb and it grows underground. So that's why we're going to try it here. And we're going in the ground cloth. We'll just cut strips from that end down and then just plant in there. And I figure we should be able to get at least 100 in this little area. So it doesn't take a big area to get a lot of garlic. So I'm pretty excited about it. Blue jays have been really enjoying the sunflower seeds. Even the hummingbirds have been coming over and drinking from the sunflowers as well. But the birds have been very, very active. It's been really fun to watch them. So it was a family of them coming over and getting their breakfast. It was really neat. We will be saving a lot of these so that we can plant them. I have a few of the really big seed heads saved up already, which I think is exciting. And we'll have lots of sunflowers next year. And then wherever we plant those sunflowers next year, we'll put maybe garlic, maybe potatoes. Potatoes are another really good one because they need to grow underground where you've had sunflowers previously. So I'll update you. It's very windy, so I don't know if you'll be able to hear me or not. The weather in Canada has just changed like really fast. I thought I had a little bit more time to get my garlic in the ground, but it has to happen today. So that's what I'm working on. I will show you in stages what one. This is the ground cloth that I cleaned off. So step one, I'm going to cut slits like rows down here. I'm going to pickaxe and then I'm going to plant. I'll show you as best I can every step.
Alrighty, so hopefully what you can see here, I've cut a strip in the fabric all along, and then I used my handy dandy pickaxe and just dug a small trench. So now I'm going to start planting. Having some second thoughts. I'm thinking about putting the rows actually this way so that I don't have such a long cut in the fabric. I'm sort of worried about how many weeds we'll get through. So here we go. So remember, this end is what goes in the ground. That's where the roots are going to come out. They don't need to be very far apart because you know how big a garlic bulb is, so you know how far away they need to be from one another. And then you just do this all the way down the row. So that's probably about 4 inches apart. That should be good. So I'll let you know. So here's my bulb, and all I'm doing is just breaking each individual peg off of this bulb, putting it here in my pocket, planting them. Easy peasy. So in the spirit of keeping things even, I was able to plant 25 in this row. I definitely could have done a few more, but I decided it makes it easier for me to calculate. So now you're just going to bury them. That's it. And for me, because I'm using the ground cloth, I'm just going to make sure that the ground cloth is folded like this, and then I'll take rocks and put rocks here so that the ground cloth, it's very windy, to make sure that the ground cloth doesn't end up covering these up. The rocks will work just fine. If you had stakes, I guess you could use stakes, but rocks do the same thing and they don't cost any money. So that's cool. So you just want to make sure you got them buried. The other thing, if you do have chickens, that you need to worry about is your chickens coming and scratching them up. So I have some bird netting that I'll put down once all this is done, just to be sure that the chickens don't come and scratch it up. The other alternative would be if you fence it off, but your choice. So there we go. I'm so happy. It feels so good to get this off my plate. See? No one had any interest in this area until I came over here, and look, my hard work. They're digging it up. Troublemakers. So I'm going to have to put the netting on right now. If not, all 50, actually 75 of my garlic are going to be dug up. Here we go. All right. So I'm done for now. I used all the garlic that I have. And as I anticipated, the chickens came for a visit. So this is what the bird netting looks like. It looks like it's not a lot, but it's actually stretchy. So what you do is you just lay it down and measure how much you need, trim it off, and then you're going to just stretch it over where you see the openings in the ground cloth. And it just makes it so that they can't scratch it. They can still walk here, of course, like you can see them here. They're very curious, but they can't actually scratch it up and pull the garlics up. So that's that, and that will also stop, like squirrels and chipmunks as well. It's not just if you have these guys as a problem. So see, they can go and look for bugs, but see their toes are getting caught in the netting. So they'll learn, hopefully quickly, and get out of here. So that's 85 garlic plants in. So I still need to do probably 2 more rows, I'd say, and then I'll be all done. Hoping for a lot less weeds in the garlic this year. And if we do have extra space on that side, once I do 2 more rows, we'll also plant potatoes down the middle. The garlic really helps to keep the viruses away from the other plants. So what we found were the potatoes planted close to the garlic, there were hardly any potato bugs. So just something for you to keep in mind too, that you can kind of do, I've got 3 rows here. And then what I'm thinking is 1 row down the middle of potatoes, And then I'll do the other probably 2 rows that I'm going to need on the outside so that we get those, bug-free potatoes right down the middle. No pesticides or herbicides. That's what we're going for, right?